home for you is Lakewood in Texas?
Lakewood Church, going on 10 years.
Okay, wow.
That I've been a part of the leadership there and leading worship. And yeah, Houston, Texas, we're having a good time. We're seeing God do some great things in our church.
Awesome. Now, you're obviously traveling a lot, so how do you still remain connected to the local church while you're out and about?
It is a bit of a balancing act, but I'm involved in every weekend, whether I'm home or not. So I'm involved from the planning and the, preparing.
Yeah.
But we've been fortunate to really amass a great team there. And last year you saw a good portion of that team come.
Yeah.
And so it's very much a combined effort, and I'm told they do a lot better when I'm not there. So, but I'm always glad to be connected anyway.
Yeah. How do you build traditions into family when you're traveling so much? And
for me, it's like when I'm home, I just make sure that I'm home.
Yeah.
And what that means is like you turn off the phone, you stay away from the computers, and you just connect at home.
Yeah.
And for my kids, for them to know, hey, Dad's got a lot going on, and I'm also very blessed to be able to take my kids a lot with me on trips and stuff like that. So we're not the average family, but when we're home, we really just try and be home. And as far as traditions go, I wish we were the 9 to 5 like family dinner every night thing, but it doesn't really go that way. So we go out a lot and try and make the most of it. But certainly holidays and stuff like that, we try to make our traditions work and stick to them. And it is definitely a balancing act.
Yeah.
But again, I'm very blessed with an amazing wife and the children. So everybody's sort of involved in the ministry as well.
Yeah. And are your kids young, or are they older?
About to be 14, 9, and 7. So girl, boy, girl, and my 13-year-old who's almost 14. She's just, I could just boast of her all the time. She, as young as she is, she's got this very mature heart, and she's developed this foundation and building a plan to take blankets to the homeless in our city. And
wow.
She's already done 2 major drives, and she's out there under the bridges delivering them herself. 13 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Great to be able to talk about a teenager like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, on the music side of things, would you consider yourself a music artist or a worship leader? And what's the difference?
I would consider myself a Christ follower who happens to do music. I certainly in the local church, I get to be a part of the worship leadership team and helping people connect to Jesus. And then from a recording artist standpoint, I'm also I enjoy that too, traveling around, doing concerts, doing workshops and things like that. But when I start putting a category and putting a title on it, it sort of alienates the other.
Yep.
So I try to be as uncategorizable as possible.
Great, and I'm sure that's great advice for people who do try to fit into one or another, or think they have to fit into the mold.
Well, and I think I've arrived at that not like overnight. That's been a journey of, trying to figure out what works best, how to balance, where to compromise as far as time and all that. And finally you just go, enough of that, And I think I'm in that enough of that stage, because I may be doing something that requires me to just simplify it and bring people into worship, and then we find ourselves on other stages too, not in church, where we're in front of the lost, and with that comes a different element of sometimes performance and connecting and that sort of thing. So it is a fine line.
So on that journey that you talk about, what would you say so far has been the greatest lesson that you've learned?
I think the greatest lesson is that the church, we have to be careful as church people not to get so interconnected as far as we know the language, we know sort of the way we do church, that it becomes completely unrelatable to the unchurched. And so I guess the lesson is be as sensitized to the person that has no idea what, hey, praise the Lord, or hey, I'm blessed, what that means. I think the language of love becomes the great equalizer. When you just love people, give them hope, and some of that is just life. So it's not always going to be a theological message.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's going to be just love in action and a kind word that opens the gateway to really help people connect with Christ.